document boxes. Same key.
Okay. That's the ID.
This you can plug into and we'll the program on here. And then when we have ASCII and all the close out documents, we'll come and load it on here as well.
Okay.
So then, if for whatever reason you guys ever lose some of this stuff, because we'll put ASCII in here as well.
Yeah.
It'll all be stored.
Okay. Cool. So just a request on the as-built, and I know this might be a pain or whatever. If there is any way we can get super accurate on the relay modules and the PAM relays, because as you know,
Location-wise?
I never found that one in the library. We did find what the problem was, but it wasn't so.
But still haven't found that one?
No, I totally. If it's controlled, I know where it's controlled. So I would like to.
No, definitely. I know Mike was really hard at labeling, like, especially where they were and just all the additional ones and stuff like that. And you guys have to turn them in.
Yeah, and then at some point, and I know this job's done, but at some point we're going to talk about, sorry, a little bit off topic, student housing 3. We, between the engineers and myself, we would like to somehow monitor the PAM relay. I'm not sure how we can do that, either through the HVAC, which is possible, or through firewall. We don't really care, both of us really don't care. But what happens is that we have failure, we have dampers closed, and when we realize what's happened, it's somebody complaining about, oh my God, it's so hot in here. So we don't want that anymore.
Trying to get a heads up on the issue.
Absolutely,
Okay.
absolutely.
I'll have to look. I'm not too sure about
How we want to do that.
being capable of doing it.
I don't know, we'll talk about it later, sorry.
It's all right.
But just, I want to put that in your head because it's
No, definitely.
something as we keep going, I know it sounds really small, but it's a real pain for us. So, anyway. Okay, so.
All right. Well, this is your brand new fire alarm control panel, E3, which you guys have 3 others right now on campus, but same exact setup. I don't believe we have ASM 16 on the other ones though. I'm not 100% sure. But essentially, it's a 16 switch control board.
No, we don't. I don't think we have that on the other one.
So this allows you, first you have your all the same buttons, alarm acknowledge, trouble acknowledge, silence, reset. It's all listed here, but now you also have the fire drill button.
Okay.
So I believe you guys do fire drill, it's called a pull station. So that doesn't really apply to you, but in case you wanted to, or if staff wanted to do a test, they can do it here, and then they can do it on the annunciator as well, which we'll look at after this.
Okay. So these are still live, but these emulate these?
Yes.
Okay.
So sometimes people aren't looking at these at all, and they just come over here and look at that. Same concept.
Okay.
However, on here, you also have your bypasses.
Okay.
So we have the NAC bypass, no audio visual, elevator bypass. So testing wise, we can bypass the elevator, people can still use it. Air handler bypass, dampers bypass. There's tons of dampers out here, so we want to make sure that you're gonna fry your air handler if you don't bypass the dampers as well.
Yeah.
Or if we do the dampers and then don't do that. And then
Could the engineers come over and bypass that if they're doing any testing?
You know what? They could, but it's bypassing all the dampers.
Right, right.
So, I mean, yeah, they could, but I'm thinking if they were going to work on something, it might be more these 2 dampers or this set of dampers where we could bypass still. I would just bypass the module that controls them.
Yeah. Now this does like all of them, but if they're just working on the damper itself, there isn't going to be a real need to bypass it. That's only in case of a fire alarm. The dampers won't activate. Anything else being done to them, it's whoever's working on them is going to be controlling them right there. So then this is the building control. The air handler units have devices in them, control relays. to let the building management system know when there's an alarm, which air handler unit is coming from. So we just went ahead and put a bypass for it in case there. Once again, it's just for alarm testing purposes.
And what's the difference between standby and on? I don't see an on here, so some are completely off and some are on standby.
That's one thing we're looking into on the ASM. We think the green lights just aren't working on
Okay, so
one specifically. But if you were to push one, which we can actually, you push it, now it's on and you have your disconnect comes up.
Okay.
And all disconnects,
No.
once they all come on in, then you'll be
Oh,
able
I
to-
see, yeah.
Yeah, there's
Sorry.
multiple for just this one.
I didn't know what you pushed.
The one door.
Oh,
The trouble acknowledge will light up yellow when there's trouble
Mhm.
and light up red when there is supervisors. Then in order to enable, just push it again, all your disconnects will clear.
And then Teresa, when does the signal go past the building over to PD?
we were
For instance,
just,
everything we're doing here is all
Right.
local, all
correct.
here.
So I just had a conversation with Matt. What's his name?
Larson? Larson?
Larson today. He called and he asked me, "Well, did you jump it? Did you jump this in?" And I said, "Well, to make it active, I need to work with Hunter, and I'm holding off until we're ready to do it. The reason is I want to make sure that it doesn't affect what's going on in the field. So there's going to be an appointment. We're going to get together and we'll get this done. And then you will help me with some config files, and I will get the software uploaded, and then we will test and verify.
Okay, so that's
It's
the first
about-
time, say we have an event today, it's all localized. And then we have people moving in and doing stuff like that. If there's, a short and someone plugs a heater in that we don't want them to.
Right.
Smoke.
They would need to call PD, and usually on this campus, the PD could hear it, or possibly as they're driving around doing their patrol. But still, honestly, someone would have to physically call. And the building would evacuate. Nobody would want to stay in the building. It's just annoying. So that's where we're at, and we have.
We'll make sure the occupants know all that, because they're moving in, but the building hasn't been handed over to them. So there's a little confusion there.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's probably good that we could put out an email to the scientists and say, hey, this is, just know that if there's a fire alarm, if you could notify PD.
Another thing that's possible to do, I know we're gonna be working on this leap fairly quickly, since the jumper's already in, is above the pull stations. A lot of times if the system isn't hooked up for monitoring, above the pull station you put a little call 911 or call dispatch in case of emergency.
We just need to do something, I don't know what Jim's doing and what, if he's leaving that to you, or leaving that up to Dominic's team. I'm not sure. Oh, could you just ask? He said, when do we want to send something out? Because if not, it's gonna end up on our shoulders.
Yes. Okay.
I'd rather have it not.
Yeah.
Yet.
Understandable.
Okay.
Okay, so the only other bypass is the lawn doors, which is the one that we just pushed, and that controls all the lawn doors.
3.
I believe there's one on each floor. And
Each
then,
floor in front of the elevator? Are they lawn doors, or what do we got?
I believe it's bypassing the smoke screens and the wand doors. The wand doors are the big doors that are going to shut to close off the stairwells.
Okay.
So,
Okay. And so what do we know about those and resetting? Do you know anything about that?
all I know is that in order to, before you can reset the wand door, the system has to be reset. If there is an alarm condition.
Okay.
They have manual overrides for keys by each door.
Okay.
So once you have the keys and you manually override it, and then it'll come back up
There you go.
Oh,
after the system reset.
Okay. And so that is like a manual reset. Is that what you're
It's a
saying?
manual reset, yes.
Oh, lovely. I like that. An improvement.
Are
Okay.
you going to cover one critical thing I like to cover in the next hour is just how the doors operate in a fire mode and a no power mode.
The no power mode, I do not know. The doors aren't. We essentially control the module that drops the doors, and that's.
You're saying no power mode, what is the module?
No power mode, the module, it's on battery backup.
Okay, so the module's not gonna lose power. So the building loses power.
Yeah. And it's,
So the doors stay,
they should stay open, unless the doors themselves have, if there's a power outage and the doors are meant to drop.
We'll have to talk to somebody.
Whoever installed the doors.
that's part of fire, right?
It is integrated with the fire system, but it's not what they do. It's a specialty.
Essentially, there is a set of contacts. There's a relay with normally open or normally closed contacts, depends on which one is needed for the door. And then on alarm, it either opens or closes, which allows the door to go down. That's all that we're doing. There's no power provided from our panel, anything like that.
So again, that's a big question mark, is how the doors are gonna operate. You kind of talked a little bit how we need to reset them.
Well, the panel needs to be reset if there's an alarm condition before the doors will be able to be brought back up. Otherwise,
Just need to
they'll be.
integrate the discussion with the doors. I just like to know in the 2 or 3 mode scenarios how the doors are going to work, how our response should be, who's going to have keys, who's not, and what are they going to do. I mean, it's not crystal clear to me. Open, close, time delay, those kind of things. The override is critical because we've been having problems.
Well, yeah, because in Del Norte, the one door, what happened is there was some testing, they forgot to bypass the module, the door came down, and we don't have the ability to manually reset the door.
We have to call somebody.
We have to call somebody. One thing is, I was told over there through some training that even if, which we have the ability to get that door back up, we still have to call them because anytime it's deployed, they have to come and calibrate.
That's not what the issue with these doors. The key, you can manually override it, and then you can open and close. You just put the key in, like turn right's open, turn left is closed, and it'll roll all the way back up.
So,
I can hear that.
I mean, I'd like to figure out how we see those doors, A, work, and B, how we're gonna really respond, and then you kind of decide who else needs to know that besides you.
Yeah, realistically, it should only be a facilities thing that touches the doors, I would believe. And if they do have the ability to be reset by you guys, not need a company to come out and do it. I mean, you guys obviously control the system here, then you'll be the only ones controlling it there as well.
Okay.
Before we move on from this, just so you guys can see, this is one of 2 active fingers. The other one is on the 2nd floor. They're monitored for power loss
Thank you.
and trouble.
So it has an address, so when I get a problem, I know where to go.
You don't have to walk the whole campus with a flashlight?
You know, it's just when you have multiples, like room library, we have multiples, and it will say we have a trouble on the NAC circuit. So I'm like, okay, and it's just like flip a coin. Where do we go? And you just start walking until you
go to
find
the
the
last
trouble.
one that gave you the trouble
Yeah.
and hope that's
But we've also talked about getting an estimate, a proposal to put these in room library. So we're improving. Things are improving. Until later.
They're not connected to the fire line, right? The policy.
No, they're check out the enunciator.
Over there from panels out in the field.
Be able to just walk in the fire alarm enunciators, which you do need the PK625 to control, same as the panel key. So essentially, it's police or facilities will be the only ones with keys. You get all the same functions, and it'll tell you where the alarm's coming from. The only extra function is you do have a drill button, which you can push to do drills. Once again, you guys, I believe, do smoke detectors or pull stations to do your drills. But gives you everything that you need to do. Main is being silenced and resetting the panel. But that's about it for those. They're pretty straightforward.
Gotcha.
As far as coverage, I know the rooms do not have smoke detectors in it. mainly common area, so hallways, and then exits have pull stations.
Interesting. Classrooms do not.
As far as I know,
And the pull stations are all resettable here.
with the key.
The key.
Yes.
And that resets the station and also resets, for instance, if someone pulled this, the alarm goes off.
Okay.
Do you need to go to this panel or the one downstairs to reset the
Yes,
alarm?
you do.
And then this only resets the pull
Yeah.
station switch.
Yeah, so this, whatever activates in the field has to be in its normal state for this or the panel to be
Okay, so it's a double
reset.
step. It's reset this, then go over here or downstairs to reset.
Because if you
Shut the alarm off. I'm trying
right,
to get that.
right. If you forgot or if you had a smoke that was still in alarm for some reason, and you went and you said, "Okay, alarm," it goes through, and you think, "Oh, I'm good." In about 2 seconds, it goes again, and you're like, "What's going on?" So you have whatever's in the field that this thing is monitoring has to be in its normal state for it to go
So
in
it
its
could
normal
be
state.
a classroom hood that's not in its normal state.
It
Let's see
would,
what the classrooms look like. I don't want to see
Right.
the fire alarm in the classroom.
it would have to be an initiating type device.
This one's a pull, that one's straightforward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pull, smoke, heat.
On and off.
Smoke, heat, duct detector.
How many of those did you give me?
23.
No!
Yeah.
And you have a schematic of all this, right? Where
Yes.
everything is?
Just take a look.
I got it.
Maybe not. Yeah, they have duct detectors on each floor. Then the other fun ones are the tamper switches. They have tamper switches outside the IT room above the ceiling of every IT room.
Outside the IT room above the ceiling. Tamper for...
Sprinkler. Because they have sprinkler lines going into the IT rooms, so they wanted a way of shutting them off in case that was the head that went. So outside of each of your IT rooms
Okay.
and above.
How big are the IT rooms? Are they
Not
just
very
small data closets?
Mhm.
Interesting.
But they put sprinklers in them and then wanted a valve to control it in case that sprinkler goes off.
I'd love to have been on that discussion, but okay. Good.
So you have
As long as it's on
the
the
audio-visual device in the classroom, but as far as
Smokes.
initiating, there's none. The reason being is because we're covered with the air handler unit that's constantly
The
blowing
alarm
air.
come off of there, so the audible,
Yes.
or is it in the hallway? Okay, so
That
this-
one activates
this will
audible
activate-
visual as well.
I'm sorry, where is the actual siren or the actual, I see the light here.
That one has a siren in
There's
it
a horn
as
in it
well.
also.
Oh, there is a horn
Yeah.
built into this one? Oh,
Yes.
My eyesight.
It's hard to see, but you can see like a little square
Okay,
past the red plastic.
okay.
That's where the horn is.
And if a classroom has an issue, like the horn will go off, the light will go off, there's something going on in here, where's the sensor that triggers it? Is it just that, or is there other sensors in the room?
No, that triggers on a fire alarm, which for the room coverage is, it'll either be duct detector
Or sprinkler.
or sprinkler.
So they're fully sprinklered, so that's just like a heat detector?
And where's the sprinkler, where's the sensor for, I have a fire right here, somebody does something that they're not supposed to do, and it just goes up and smoke starts going in. There's gonna be a time delay for the HVAC system to pick that up, because
Yeah.
assuming the duct detector is not right above us, it's down.
Oh,
down in the
I mean, they're all over the place, so, but yes,
More
it's
than
gonna
one?
take, yes, there's multiple.
Okay.
It's gonna take a bit for the duct detector to pick it up. If it's a big fire right in this area, right behind that cap will drop off the sprinkler head at about 115 degrees, 120 degrees. And then the sprinkler head pops down, and at 155 or 165 breaks the sprinkler head. That will start downpouring, and then between 30 and 90 seconds is when the riser flow switch activates.
Okay. So that pops down, we get an alarm.
Not when it pops down, only when the sprinkler head breaks. And then
So popping down doesn't do anything,
no,
just gets it ready.
yes.
Okay.
because they don't want you to have like a false break. If
When
they're
will the guy sleeping in the corner know that he has to get up and do something?
anywhere from 30 to 90 seconds after that has gone off.
So, okay, so you do have extinguishers in here,
Yes.
right?
5-pound extinguishers.
So Teresa will be discussing that. Okay, so we have extinguishers, which is good. And also, I think through the science department, I'm thinking that we could help educate them a little bit about these labs. So if they have a fire or small fire, they can, it's up to them if they want to be fire extinguisher trained, but that's one option. And then if they really have something that's smoky or whatever and they need help, or
They grab
can
the
walk
manual
out.
alarm and
Yeah,
do it.
exactly, but they need to know that.
There's no time delay there. That's the
Correct.
waking up the guy with the headsets on and. you
And
know,
it's different than in Aliso Hall, because Aliso Hall in a room like this has, I think, maybe 2 or 3 smoke detectors. And they get drilled pretty often, but they've been better.
Okay.
Okay.
So, I mean, it's always something that can be changed later on if they're uncomfortable with the amount of coverage, but essentially, being a fully sprinkler building, they aren't required to have the smoke detectors.
And how many manual pulls do we have?
It should be one at every exit.
Every exit. Okay, good. That's good.
Do you normally go and cover that with academic affairs, or how did we do it at Elisa?
Lisa was online when I got hired.
Okay.
So I work with the techs mostly, not so much the faculty. I do know some of the faculty, but mostly the techs. I just think courtesy they should know that it's different, it's set up differently.
Who's the
and
fire marshal for this building?
I am. But
Okay.
Maggie Tugas should know.
That's what we got.
It's not Aaron Burr.
Well, fire marshal is the state fire marshal, but you're
I'm
talking
sorry.
about building marshal.
Building marshal,
Oh,
I'm
yeah,
sorry.
okay.
Yeah, building
Yeah.
marshal. Well, because they could really help with communication.
Oh,
Okay, we're,
completely
again, I
agree.
haven't been upstairs, but we got people moving in, and stuff's going on, and, those
Nobody
type of
knows
things.
how to.
And we're doing what I call technical transfer and training of the building.
Okay.
And this is one chunk, fire, you got electrical today,
Mechanical.
you got HVAC, mechanical,
Yeah.
plumbing is a little bit lower, so all the MVP folks report to me, and I'm trying to bridge. I called IH&S and asked them, hey, we got a new building coming on board, do you have any concerns? Really? When are they gonna, when is it gonna be turned over? And I said, well, we're gonna test the fire alarm system and all this, and they're not in the boat. But we have, the permits to operate the building, and
Yeah.
I'm not sure we've connected the people systems. And that's one from the leadership that has the regulations and compliance and all that. Should an elevator have a power backup? Do we need to be able to egress within 10 minutes out of
Yeah.
an elevator? With no power situation, they could be stuck in there for days. I mean,
Yeah.
realistically, I hate to say it that way, that no one's
That's very
shown
true
me
without a
to
backup.
do that right
Yeah.
now, because we've elected to not go to that level of backup, because we have plenty of levels, but I just think we need to revisit that, because we've done some value engineering that just doesn't make sense.
I understand.
And Teresa knows what I'm talking about. And we want to get the best that we get, and we appreciate your partnership. And again, I keep hearing really good things that we're getting the best, and we're getting the communication. Right now, I want to get the knowledge. Assume Teresa is gone for the next 2 or 3 months because she goes on vacation. And who else knows what you just said today?
Yeah. No, understandable.
I'll get the call at 2 in the morning.
Oh yeah.
And Teresa will get the call at 2 in the morning, but she's out of town. Okay, proceed.
All right. Well, we can go check out one of those wand doors.
Let the power out, let the power out.
what does that screen do? I know what this one does.
Nothing.
That one does nothing.
That one does nothing.
Yeah.
Okay. And then the elevator also does nothing. It does not hunt for a floor. It stops
Correct.
wherever
It
it's
stops right where it's at.
at. Okay. So we have a follow-up there. I mean, I have at least one. I'd like to know how to get it to move with no power. And Jim has that as a follow-up right now.
I'm surprised that they don't have it fall to whatever floor.
He was gonna check. That was another question, why I can't do that.
It's not a, it's not hydraulic,
Right,
is it?
exactly.
No, it's
Probably
electric
the only
traction.
reason.
Right, electric reaction, but it could free clutch or safety, whatever.
Yeah, I think that's what the shunt trip we have up there is for. It takes it to wherever the fire alarm, that smoke detector, whatever floor is not activated, where it feels it's safe to let the people out, opens the doors, and then trips the breaker with the shunt trip, and you can't use the elevator anymore.
But in a power out, could it go through that sequence? Does it have enough? No, it doesn't. Power out, you're dead in the water.
As soon as power goes out, it's dead.
Yeah, right. And again, that's been a strategy for the whole building is, that's gonna be
Well,
such a rare.
it's been the 10-second backup from the generator.
Sure.
Yeah.
And I'm questioning that,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Okay. All right, I'll go check 2 out.
Actually, for me and all the guys, we just need to get familiar, get comfortable as we own another building on
Right.
campus. It's really, I think it's designed really nice, to tell you the truth. I know it's got a little quirks, all buildings do, but
I
it's a
still
pretty
would
nice
like to
building.
just, I'd like to cover the emergency lighting, just to hear the words. The reason is it's different than Del Norte. So, in general, what lights are on, what lights are hooked to emergency, which ones are not, how does, in the same scenario, in alarm mode, what does it do? If it has one method, that's simple, that's great. And then in a power out black mode, what does it do? Those are the two.
Okay.
Power out black mode, we had our Aaron and Dan
Right.
inspect it last week.
Okay?
So any light,
So the red light tells me that
the battery's charging.
it's charging.
And so that's an emergency light.
Does it go green when it's completely charged?
No, it just stays red all the time.
Stays red all the time. Okay.
So when the light's off, when that red light's off, it means that the power's out.
Okay.
So same thing too. So anywhere you see a red dot,
Those are emergency lights.
or they're all emergency lighting.
Same color. You got those red lights.
We do have some of those, but in Del Norte, we also have some UPS backups for our lights, which is a personal thing.
So,
I'm into. It's a big house.
So right now they're charging, and the lights that are on, the light has anything to do with it? For instance, the lights that are on right now, we have some emergency lights hooked up to standard looking lights, and some, I think Del Norte has that. We have some lights that
Yeah,
are.
so just looking at this corridor right here, you got these two cans with the red, those are the emergency lights, the one in the middle.
Okay.
So when the power goes up,
The
the one in the
regular.
middle goes off.
Okay, and the other ones just stay on.
They
Okay.
come
So they're
on.
all mated just
At
like.
a different, they come out a little bit lighter,
Sure, okay.
not at full power.
All right, so with no power, is the batteries have their normal hour, 2, 3 hours,
Yep.
4 hours of life, okay.
It's supposed to be enough to get people to leave the building safely. So.
And we had them off. We had them off last week. It was Thursday. We had them off for about 2 hours.
And they did pretty good.
They-
Are they LEDs? Are they, what are they? Fluorescent? Don't look at us.
I don't know.
That's ask
I'd have
David.
to ask David.
Okay, not a problem.
So right now they're on,
They're on regular power.
and they're on all the time.
Yep. Well, it's
So-
all based on the Lutron. The Lutron.
Okay. So again, they're controlled as normal lights, except for a power out fire
Correct.
situation.
Correct.
Okay.
And
So-
they're charged all the time.
Yep.
Even in a fire situation, though, I don't believe that any of the lights shut off.
No.
So they're completely
Yeah.
Separate.
Only a
separate
power outage.
of
Only power outage.
Yeah.
So in an alarm situation.
So they're egress lights and have nothing to do with fire, no fire, evac, or
Right.
no evac.
Right.
So,
Okay.
are you ready to go then? Or did you want to go on to the electrical? Are we done with them? Not that I'm kicking you out.
I mean, no, the only thing that I wanted to go over, kind of touch briefly, which you know, but you may not know as much of, is the like maintenance and testing of the system. We like to see like an annual test done, 100% test. Now, if you guys get like a lot of false alarms or something happening in a building, then you can bump it up like 6 months. But from what the typical idea is, once a year, do 100% test.
Again, we still need to review the PM procedures, and that'll have a PM work order that'll say annual testing, 6-month testing, quarterly testing, monthly testing, weekly testing, whatever. So we still need to review all that. I haven't seen any of that, but Lalo's getting that with the whole commission. I should be able to see that package. It's the spreadsheet that we always review.
Yeah, annual actually is what our, it makes sense and the fire marshal wants it.
Yeah. Well, I know you guys just started doing it for the campus.
We're having you do it for the
Well,
campus.
yeah, I mean, but we'll just add it to the list.
Absolutely.
And no other doors. We talked about those doors. We talked about these doors. We talked about the lids tonight. Any exterior doors that do anything odd?
With fire alarm?
Yeah, what kind of fire alarm? Stick with fire alarm. What other little octopus arms are they connected to what you haven't told us yet?
Door holders is just pretty much these kind of,
Yeah, which we're not even controlling the door holder portion of this.
oh, is that right?
It's all, this wand door controls itself, essentially. We just activate, if there's an alarm, it's told, okay, drop that door 10 seconds later, the rest of the door is going to come down. But as far as specialty functions, really the only specialty functions that you have out here, other than closing doors, dropping the elevator to whatever floor other than the alarm is at, and the smoke screens, would be like a HVAC shutdown. So that's on, right now that's on general alarm as well. Everything will shut down. All airflow, and then I believe almost all the exhaust fans shut off except for...
They got one fan that drops down to 50%.
There you go.
Okay, yeah, I haven't reviewed the...
Yeah, we talked about in the commissioning meeting.
Right.
So, yeah, that
Yeah,
was...
it's just my whole thing around, just want to understand how a classroom triggers the HVAC for the room and or the building and or the floor. Rich is still needs to get me kind of connected on that to make sure that that's...
But as far like say there's like an explosion in one of the labs.
Sure. We kind of walked it before you came in, and we have a fire in that little room there. There's not going to be any audible. There's not going to be anything until at least 90 seconds after the sensor reaches temperature. But say it never does. The room could completely get filled with smoke, so you're depending on the smoke sensor. Well, the smoke sensor is not in the room. It's down.
It's in the ducting.
It's in the ductwork further down. So the room could be full and nothing's really happened yet. The people are still trying to figure out what to do. So really what we need to educate folks is you open the door and you pull the pull alarm, and that now sets everything into sequence, including the HVAC system. And I still want to understand how the HVAC system works. You pull that pull alarm, and then the whole building goes into a sequence of HVAC. But in a science lab where you have potentially the hoods will close up, that sequence is different. And just want to make sure we understand each of those scenarios. We've taken folks through that need to either know how to get out of the building. Again, we're just going to tell the students, you hear an alarm, you get out of the building. But how about if you're in a room that's full of smoke and you're waiting for the alarm, sooner or later it'll come and I could leave the building, but right now I'm okay in here. There's a little bit of smoke, not a big deal. We're not going to crash and burn yet. Those are the kind of things I want to educate folks, the stuff in between.
Okay.
And really, the fail-safe would be smoke or whatever. You pull the pull alarm. We get everyone out of the building.
everyone out.
I mean, that's the simplest. No one likes to hear that. You got 4 floors to evacuate. No one likes to hear that. They like to hear is, oh, it's all controlled to that one lab. Don't worry about it. The rest of the classrooms are all fine. No, I don't think that you can't do that. You can't risk that factor,
Right.
you know?
I think it was my understanding in the design of fire protection, these are dry labs, so they did things a little differently. I don't think chemistry's coming over here, and they're the ones that set off the alarm quite often. But you know,
Okay, well, just.
I'm with you. We're gonna see how it evolves, and if they start putting or changing occupants, we'll be probably adding some smoke detectors.
Yeah, it all is based off of what the occupancy states.
Sure. Okay, well, we'll work through that. So I'm okay. I mean, I have some questions, I got some follow-ups, and Teresa's gonna answer them.
Well, I don't know all the answers, but I can
We'll get the
that on
answers.
it,
Okay,
right?
okay.
That's right. Okay, so are we doing electrical now?
Yeah, we're starting back over there in the electrical room.
Electrical.
We have
Okay.
the 12,000 volts coming in here from the campus, and we got it coming in from SF6, which you remember that's the yard that we were the other day, right there. There's a switch that feeds into this transformer, and then it loops 12,000 volts over here.
Okay.
And we got two systems. We got the 480 volt, which is this transformer here. That takes it down to 480 to 277 into the building. And this one here is for the 120. So you got two transformers, one for 120 and one for 277. And from here, they go into the main switchboard. They're all sitting inside here. So
You have to see one, that's the 480-277, that's the bigger transformer.
and here's where that comes in. The 28120 keeps that switchboard right here. We have sharp meters in here, so you can monitor the amperage swings. Right now, you can see 111 on A, B, 90, and 212 C on this one here. This 480-277 takes mainly care of all the lighting loads and air handling units and the mechanical in the upstairs.
And the elevator, right?
Elevator too, correct. And the 120, you can tell by the amperage on this one here. Nobody has it hardly plugged in anything. It's mainly just the control circuits, maybe for some dampers, control boards, and then generally that's the building. Nobody's plugged in.
So that's no chance in hell to get to 1200.
No, this one here, I passed the other one close to that. So you've got a lot of expansion. So, but that's what that does. You got certification on each one. And like I was saying, you got the sharp meters on both. Couple main breakers here and over there. Pretty much identical. You know, main breakers left side here, and then you got all your going out to the building. HPV1, that's a lighting panel inside. That's what keeps pretty much all the lighting in the building. It goes from floor to floor with sub-panels. So that's pretty much all the lighting.
So just to clarify your main breakers, you trip your two main breakers, David, the whole building will go dead, right?
That's correct.
And then back to your lighting, you trip that one, all your emergency lighting will kick in, right?
Yeah.
Is that how you would recommend testing it?
Yeah, when we were testing, and what I did, I just I opened the breaker that's in HPV1 inside the electrical room on the north side here. That was the easiest way. And then all the lighting in the building, because that's feeding all the sub panels, they're stacked up. So if I turn that off, you will see all the emergency lighting if you ever want to test it. That's the easiest way I see. You could do it here too, same thing, but I just did that way. Yeah. So there's two ways to skin that cat. And then you got the air handling units, exhaust fans coming from here, and behind you, you do have two transformers in this building. This one here goes from 480 to 28120. And that's the only one that has a few panels, 120 volt panels, feeding some control circuits, coming from the 480 side, stepping it down to 120 inside the building. I don't know what the engineer, what they have in mind, maybe for emergency or to split up the load so that you still have some.
If you lose this,
Yeah, you still have some
here.
120 going out to the building. And this one here is pretty much an isolation transformer. It comes in the same voltage as it comes out. And those are for your isolated ground receptacles inside the buildings and for all the whatever computer data.
Yeah, all the sensitive stuff.
Yeah, sensitive stuff. So it's pretty much an isolation transformer. And the disconnect for both these transformers are here. T1, T3, and these here, this one here goes with a distribution board inside, PB2. So, your ground plate, you got your main ground plate here. We had to expand it, there was a lot of ground we ended up with here. So, we have everything, you got building steel, neutral ground, you've got cold water, you've got ground rings, and you got test wells, you got like little wells inside the building here. And there's three, I believe there's 4 outside. And also, I'm going to clean these up a little bit. You got some test plates too, where you can screw in and
Test your ground?
Yeah, test your ground. So there's an abundant amount of ground in this building. Yeah.
How things changed in 20-something years.
Yeah. So there's a lot of ground.
Good.
Yeah.
Really, I'm glad to see it.
Yeah. So we had everything, of course, tested, so everything's good. You know, I don't see a reason why it would fail with all that. So, and
No reason to cover the ground area.
No, I
We
wouldn't
just
cover
leave it all open.
Yeah. It's easier to, I mean, if for some reason, you know, at a very least a visual, or God forbid, you know, we had a shaker or something, is it loose, or, you know,
Yeah.
you can see it, and there's no energy to it. The only time there's energy is when we have a problem.
sure. Right. That's true.
That's our
Yeah.
behind the scenes
Yeah.
circuitry.
So we have inside the building we have a total of 3 more stand-up sections, switchboards like this, and they are all 120 208. I'm gonna go ahead and if you guys want to follow, you know, go ahead and show to you.
On my desktop, but I'm seeing the software that's interpreting what's happening in the field for the police department.
Okay.
There's a lot I can do there.
All right, actually, here's the HPV1 that I was telling you. That's the one that takes care of all the lighting load. So that was the main breaker. We saw that 480 volt that I showed you. And it's inside here that has the main breaker also. That's where I pulled it down and tested all the lighting. So,
Yeah, that'll have to be done.
so this is the main lighting panel board. If you need to test it, go here. Also for the, you get 3 inverters total in this building. 2 of them are here. Those are for the step lights outside. So that keeps power to them if there's a power outage for a while. And so that's what they do. And then DB1, here's the first stand-up distribution board that I was talking about, also equipped with the sharp meter. So you can monitor, it's a matter of fact, there's also a computer data cable connected to the
Shark meter?
yeah.
Yeah.
So remotely, you guys should be able to. They're getting the MAC address right now.
Good.
So if you guys wanted to monitor each of these switchboards that we have installed, you should be able to do that remotely. I don't know how really that works.
There's
but
a network of them, and I haven't been involved with that so much, but I do know that they will be putting those
Yeah.
shark meters on the network.
Yeah,
Yeah, we're trying to get that hooked up.
Yeah.
You know, minimum I need it through the building,
yeah.
and then we have other meters.
I think they're working on it right now,
Right.
trying to figure out the addresses.
Mike from Digital Energy is working with Mike Long, who's been on vacation.
Mhm.
Still on vacation? You know? I haven't seen him back yet.
Maybe so. I don't know how long
Probably
it's been.
at least another week,
Yeah.
if not more.
Mhm.
And then these don't have batteries in them, do
Yeah,
they? They do, okay. So we have batteries in the emergency lighting,
Yes,
battery backup in the fire alarm panels,
yes,
batteries here.
yes.
Where else?
There's some
Protecting your
security,
stuff.
it's not my part of our contract, but I know there's batteries inside the security boxes for
What's the
security
part?
doors.
Oh, the security doors.
Mhm.
Oh, that's right.
I think
Key-
there's like
the
card
Aaron has the
readers
keys.
and stuff like that, or to open and lock the doors. I think they put in some batteries in there.
Okay.
So you have it there, you have it for the inverters and fire alarm panel. Yeah.
Okay.
All on a PM program.
Yeah.
Put it on the PM program. Yeah.
Okay, so each distribution board is carrying a 3-phase breaker, and all these distribution boards, like I said, they're 28120 inside here. So we got a lot of sub panels spread out through the building. We can walk through a hallway, and they're marked, you know, where they go, and each panel, we can look at one out here.
And the shark meter here is for all those game panels.
Yeah.
So is there a level below that for metering that you're aware of at all?
No.
Okay. And that shark meter is not sequencing through panel
No.
and then sending a signal out. It's sending the whole signal out.
It's sending whatever this main breaker, the load
Correct.
coming
I'll
in.
just check.
Yeah.
Again, the smarter systems are getting there where we can, you know, continue.
Isolate it.
Well, it just does I'm going to say 1 second, but it's a several milliseconds sequencing through. So in 5 seconds, it's checked all the panels, and in the same 5 seconds, this is sent out the stream. Instead of sending a continuous stream, and now you got to get 28 of these, you just daisy chain them so you kind of know what you're using.
Yeah.
That way.
No.
So this is just one. That's fine.
Yeah.
It's just, and there's no other meters besides here and over there.
There's 2 more meters.
But they're on the same similar panel on the other floors.
Actually, on this floor and the other electrical room that I'm going to show.
And the other floors, do they have a panel like this with a meter?
Well, what it is these 3 distribution boards, they take care of all the panels
On the
in
building?
the building.
Ah, okay.
So you're going to end up monitoring all the panels in the building.
So, PB 29, that's what it
Yeah.
says. I can't see.
Yeah,
That could be upstairs.
it could be.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so some of these are not on this floor.
No,
Okay.
no. That's correct.
That's right. Well, again, that's sometimes easier.
Yeah. And if you go to each panel too, like we can look at the one outside here. So this is, for example, DB2. This here is fed from DB1. So DB1 is here. This is the DB1. And you got PB2 right here.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
So if you, I have the single line too, and you guys are going to get all that information, but everything should be labeled so you can go to the source, you know where it is, and then you know which shark meter, if that, you know.
What's ringing in my ear is my lights don't work. I'm in classroom so and so.
Yeah. Well, if the lights don't work, you go here.
No, I don't. All right.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
So,
The
but
lights don't work. We know it's not electrical, it's Lutron.
yeah, that's what I always say. Yeah. Okay. Well, let's go to the other electrical room on this floor.
Gotta edit that out, right? They gotta work with those.
Well, as long as it's not Cooper lighting.
Lighting. Ooh, that's odd. I would be able to so much control lighting.
Should be all right.
Did they just seal it?
No.
They sealed it last week.
Okay, good.
You're fine.
I was getting scared there. So here you got the two other sharp meters. So you got infusion mode 2 and 3. So here's the other sharp meters, and like I was saying, so you got your
Perfect.
Mark which panel goes where.
Thank you.
And
My eyes are terrible.
Yeah.
Which is the amperage?
that's the one we were at. So if I go there, there's the amps.
Okay.
I got bad eyes too. So you got
I
two
like
amps,
bifocals, but they're not. Bifocals are great, but you also need light.
You can share these if you
I have
want.
3. Go ahead.
I just got the power.
Thank you very much. I'm going to leave you.
Okay.
Okay, you're in good hands here.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
See you later.
Again.
Have a good one.
All right, guys. Thank you.
And then, so you get your two other distribution boards, same thing, they're marked. And then you got your other inverter here for the those walkway lights. So you got 3 inverters.
Yeah, that's not bad.
No.
Yeah.
And all the other lights have their own emergency battery backup.
I kind of like that better,
Yeah.
personally.
Yes. The problem was they chose a light, I think that it doesn't fit an emergency
Well, yeah,
power.
step lights, you know how step lights
Yeah,
are.
I mean, it was
City,
tight.
right?
So
Yeah.
there was no room for anything to,
Yeah.
so in order to get them to be emergency, that's what they had to do.
Mm-hmm.
There was no other way, unfortunately. And then you got your sub-panel, all the 8 panels, those are the 48277, but they're all marked.
Yeah.
And like I keep saying it, but those are pretty much all lighting HPV panels.
Yeah. So everything is labeled really,
Yeah.
really well.
So you should be able to see it pretty clearly. So you can see PB8 comes from DB2, go to DB2, and PB8 should be there. Now I'm doing it on this floor, but you can go up to the floors like. I'm sorry, what was the name?
Jose.
I'm so bad.
That's all right.
So when you go up to second floor,
Mm-hmm.
you can read the panels, and you should be able to go down to one of these
Yeah.
distribution boards and find it and turn it off
Right.
and lock it out.
And I mean, because we're all in the same business, a good single line, good red line drawings, good labeling.
Yeah,
We can't really ask for much more than that.
yeah. And we're gonna be.
It looks good. You guys did. It looks good.
Great.
Too, so that's nice.
Thank you. So yeah, we're adding some smoke detectors right now. That's what that red pipe is, because I guess I didn't know, but as soon as you have batteries inside the room,
Yeah.
you need a smoke detector, and it wasn't shown on the print, so
Yeah.
it was overlooked by everybody. So right now we're in the process of adding that. 'Cause
It's probably smart. We've had some incidents with some other inverters that now are ripped out. Student housing a few years ago.
One easy way when you guys are working in these facilities is this panel.
Mm-hmm.
You see how they're pretty much identical everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have a problem in this room on the 120 volt,
Mm-hmm.
it's here.
Yeah.
If you have a problem in that room, it's here. And
Gotcha.
then the same way. So it's actually a pretty good system, You don't have to run back to the electrical room
Yeah.
and have a bunch of panels and try,
Yeah.
and
No, that's really nice.
Yeah.
And that's like the other science building,
Yeah.
right outside the door in the hall. They have like a long hallway.
Yeah.
It's just like, okay,
right.
this makes it easy.
Then you don't have to break
Right.
your head. You just
Yeah.
know that you got to concentrate on finding the problem right there. So it's pretty much a mirror image. All these labs upstairs, and by every door you have the panel. So we got another one right here, EB11. If you have a problem with the main tripping, you're going to go to DB2.
Mm-hmm.
And you're going to find PB11 over there. And then inside all these rooms, that's PB11, most of it.
Mm-hmm.
Unless it's an isolated ground receptacle, but it will be marked
Mhm.
if it is. And
And then this is one of the data closets?
Yeah.
And the server room we just walked by, right?
You mean
The main server room? Was it a main server room that we just walked by
Yeah.
on the other side? Or?
That's a lab.
that's
Actually,
lab?
they're gonna make it. I think it's for the students to experiment with the servers and there's gonna have cooling doors and everything.
Okay.
The main computer room
Yeah.
or data room.
Yeah.
That's the one next to where we started out training.
Okay.
Outside there. You
Mhm.
can go back and look at it. But yeah, this is another computer data room. But the main one is out there. That's where your feeds come in from underground.
Okay.
All that
From
stuff.
Ojai Hall in here.
That's right, from Ojai Hall.
Good.
That's where all the fiber and everything comes in. Main phone
That's our
lines.
main server.
Yeah.
Server room is in
Yes,
there.
yeah.
Okay.
And so it's pretty much mirror image. The only the elevator is there's a 480 277 volt panel on the 4th floor. I can show it to you if you want.
Fusion board right here.
Okay.
And this one here has a shunt trip breaker for the elevator.
Okay.
So if you guys have fire alarm, like I was saying, if power doesn't go out, this, if I understand it right, will take the people to the right floor where the fire alarm is not going off. Open the doors, trip the shunt breaker, so that nobody can use the elevator after that.
Right.
And then after everything's said and done, this is where you go to reset it.
That's cool.
Yeah. So that's important to know.
It makes it easier because
Yeah.
usually when you're under pressure, people are like, "Hurry, reset the
Yeah.
elevator," and you're like,
Yeah.
"Just a minute."
Yeah, so here's your shunt trip wires
Uh-huh.
here, and the breaker's right in here.
And I think also there's in your elevator room, if your heat detector goes off, it does a shunt trip. So
Yeah.
you just have to.
Yeah.
It's always good to know where it is.
Of course.
Yeah, that's an important part. So, of course, we don't have
Right, that's
lighting
okay.
right now, but so that's you got the two disconnects right there.
Yeah.
One for 120 volt power, one for 480, and got the fire alarm modules right there for the elevator.
Kind of a funny looking room. I mean,
Yeah.
no big hydraulic tank.
No, I
tank,
know,
right?
just the control box. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, the motor is sitting on top of the cab, I guess, right?
That's what I heard.
Yeah.
It's in the shaft
Yeah.
on top of the cab.
And each air You guys can walk it out right here.
Yeah.
And then work on it. You don't have to run downstairs.
How many do we have?
3.
3? That's not bad for the
Yeah,
size building.
3. And each one has
Disconnect, yeah. Cool.
yeah, you got 3 of them.
I like these. That's better.
Yeah.
From personal experience.
Yeah.
Very nice.